Hi everybody, happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday, right? Yes. So yeah, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you had a fantastic holiday. Actually it was awesome. It was a really good Thanksgiving. Again, I was merging two families, so I have my boyfriend and his kids, and then I have like my siblings and my mom. So we kind of brought everybody together, and that was the first time we've ever really had a holiday together, and it was awesome. Like it was really great. Everybody was having a good time. Nothing went wrong with the food. I think there was like a little things that I missed. Like for example, my brother likes to drink diet soda. I didn't even think about that, so I only bought regular soda. So I actually ended up door dashing him soda. Like I know that's ridiculous, but just because I'm like, oh, that's like little details that I missed. And I didn't have to do anything. He was drinking water. It was fine. But I think there was still that little bit that I'm like, the little perfectionist. And again, we're still healing. Like we're working on it. So that was a moment that I probably could have just let it go and said, okay, that's okay, you forgot, whatever. But the perfectionism in me and the perfectionist in me was saying, no, we have to get this right. He needs his diet soda. And my uncle likes pecan pie. I didn't get a pecan pie, so that was the only other one. But that one I was just like, okay, whatever. Like, there's other options, right? You can find something else that you like. But yeah, it was really good. I had a mini crash out like the day before, that Wednesday before Thanksgiving, because I think I started to feel overwhelmed. Although I had so much time, like I still had all of Wednesday night, and then they weren't coming over till 2 p.m. on Tuesday. So I feel like I still had a lot of time, but my mind just started like, racing with all the things I had to do. I'm still getting better at delegating. I'm not really that good at it at this point, but I'm learning and trying to trust people more to help me. So that's something, again, I think over time will improve. But yeah, I hope you had a great holiday. Ours was, again, really, really good. So today I wanted to talk about people pleasing. So I feel like parentification and people pleasing go hand in hand. If you were parentified as a child, it means that you were given extra responsibility. You may not have had that full childhood that you would have hoped for, would have expected. Because you were helping, right? You were maybe second parent. Like I know for me, my mom was working 2+ jobs. She was always at work. So I had the responsibility of taking care of my siblings. I'm the oldest daughter. I do have an older brother, but he was, kind of out and about with his friends and doing that. So I needed to take the role and step up. And then I proved to my mom that, hey, I'm awesome, right? You don't have to worry when you leave them with me. So I feel like that people-pleasing tendency to not know how to say no, to really have difficulty, like in my head, I'm always thinking that I don't want to let people down. And that's really hard because I feel like we're not responsible for other people's emotions, for other people's feelings. And that was such a hard lesson to learn. Honestly, that was such a hard lesson to learn. You have to learn that you are not responsible, and I'm unlearning it at this point, that you are not responsible for other people's feelings, their emotions, and their actions, right? Like you're not responsible for that. So I think for me growing up, I had to have everything level, right? Everybody needed to be good. I didn't want to have people mad at me. And even now that I'm older, it's getting better. I feel like now that I'm in my 40s, like what they tell you is true, that as you get older, you stop giving a shit. Like honestly, you really stop caring what people think, and it's getting better. I still have that little bit, again, that wants everything to be perfect, that wants people to just love me. But as I'm getting older, I am noticing that it is going away, which is awesome. So hopefully that trend continues because that's really great. But yeah, I still think that for me, it is hard to say no. Again, one of the things that I run into is overextending myself. So that's, one of the issues that I have is that I will say yes to so many different things without even thinking, like, do I have the bandwidth for that? Do I have the capacity for that? Do I have the energy for that? Like, do I actually want to do this? Or is it something that I just want to get that instant reaction from you that I said yes and you were happy about it, right? So what I'm doing now, and I gave an example on one of the shorts that I posted, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where I said, you know what, if somebody asks me to do something, I never answer right away anymore. I'll say something like, oh, let me check, we have a lot going on at work. Let me just make sure that I'm going to be free. I always do that, always, because what I need to do, and I know for me in my healing and what I'm doing now and focusing on myself, is I need to be able to say, okay, let me think, maybe when we're closer to that event, let me see how I'm feeling and what I have on my plate. So I never say yes right away. And again, before all of this, instant reaction. Like there was no hesitation, right? So even if somebody invited me to something that was like 3 months ago, I'm like, yes, I'll be there. I will be there with bells on, right? So yeah, I don't do that anymore. And it's helped me tremendously, because there were times where I would like double book myself and triple book myself because I didn't realize something was on the same day. And then the stress of trying to figure out, okay, which one am I going to go to? Which one am I not going to go to? Who am I going to disappoint? So yeah, I feel like you really, really have to step back. And that's one of the best things that if I could give any one bit of advice, just through my healing journey up until this point, has been taking time to really, and for me it's meditation, for you it could be something different, but where you just in the morning or whenever you check in, you stop, you don't think about everything that you have to do that day, just sit in silence, which believe me, it's really hard, especially if your mind goes a mile a minute. But you have to sit in silence to be able to feel what's happening within you, you know, because I think for a lot of us that were parentified, we are just like on autopilot, right? We don't, you know, we're on to the next thing. We're not focusing on what's going on in here and how that is presenting itself. And we all need to stop and smell the roses and just take a damn break for once and actually listen to what our body's telling us. So yeah, so I think if start doing that, just try it like with a few things that you're noticing when people ask you for things, or say, hey, you know, can you give me a ride to the airport? Or hey, can you, you know, we're doing this thing on this, you know, I'd love if you could make it, you know, try not answering right away, give it a little bit of space and kind of check in with yourself and see, is this positive? Is this negative? Is this something that I really can commit to? And if so, then great, do it. Conflict avoidance is also a big piece of this, right? So I feel like that lends itself to people pleasing because you don't want to create conflict. So a lot of times the yes is the best answer, right? Because you're not going to cause conflict with the no answer. So yeah, I feel like as you get older and as you start healing, you will be better about conflict resolution and just conflict in general. But I know, again, growing up, I did not try to rock the boat at all. If I had any kind of frustrations or any, you know, I didn't voice a lot to my mom, and that's one of my regrets during that period of my life is I did not tell her that I was overwhelmed. I did not, because my mom was, I don't know how she was doing it, but she was the one that was putting food on the table, right? So she was busting her butt so that we could eat. And so yeah, I didn't want to be like, hey, you know, I don't really like that I'm doing this. I would love to go play with my friends. Like there was never that at all. So I kept everything inside. And even as an adult, that bubbles up all the time in my relationships, in my professional work life, in my personal life, because it's hard for me to say like, hey, this is, you know, projecting needs, right? This is what I need. This is what, you know, that's been a challenge as well. But I think that goes hand in hand with people pleasing because their needs come first. Everybody's needs come first. And maybe when you were parentified as a kid, you were being rewarded for being mature, being responsible, right? So you got more responsibility a lot of cases. I know I did because I was so good, right? And I didn't give her any problems. So I was just like, oh, you know, I felt good about that I didn't cause any issues. But yeah, I think there was a lot that I could have voiced during that period that I just didn't because I didn't want to rock the boat. So that's definitely a component of it as well. So how do we heal from that, right? How do we heal from being people pleasers? How do we move into a space? And it's a lot of the same advice with other areas of different themes that come out of parentification, right? So for people pleasing specifically, I think one of the biggest pieces is to focus on yourself. Again, have those self-care days, I mean, you really should be getting self-care every day. You know, there's not just one day that you're like, this is self-care Saturday. I usually do Saturday just because I have a whole day, right, that I can usually focus on myself, which is awesome. Usually during the week you have to work and all that. But yes, I think you should find little bits of joy and bits of self-care every single day. I think that's important. But yeah, just really focusing on the fact that it's okay to disappoint people because again, you're not responsible for their feelings, their emotions, their actions. That's on them, right? So if you are taking all of this on, you're not allowing them to process it. And I think that was a mentality shift for me as well, because I would always come to the rescue. I would come to the rescue and try to do everything for everybody. And it's like, I'm robbing them. And that's the mentality that really broke in my head that I needed, right? Because I didn't want to take anything away from them. I was thinking that I was doing them a favor, right? And that's where like codependency comes in, and that's a whole other topic. But yeah, I feel like for me, it's like, oh, you're right, right? Like I'm taking away their ability to learn from that, their ability to figure it out because I'm coming in and saving the day, right? So that mentality shift was really helpful. I think for me, just, yeah, it's okay to disappoint people. That's just life, right? You may do it, and whatever, you're not responsible for picking up the pieces or making them feel good after that. Like that's not on you. Also, I think setting boundaries, again, super important in this space. Anybody that's been parentified, that's usually the first thing that I'll check in with them and see, hey, have you been setting boundaries? What does that look like for you? And that can be super small, right? Like saying, hey, I'm not going to do anything on this day because that's a day that I really want to hang out with myself and do this or do that. Something as small as that, or saying, I'm walking away from this relationship because it doesn't serve me anymore. It could be as big as that. It could be as small as saying, hey, this is mine, don't touch it. Period, right? So yeah, I think that's super important as well. So it is a journey. I've been working on people pleasing. I still fall into old patterns. Work is one of the areas that I'm struggling with even to this day. And again, I'm in my early 40s because I want to prove. And that's such a big part of parentification, that we want to prove ourselves, that I feel like I can't get respected unless I'm proving it you and I'm showing you all these things that I can do. Check me out, right? So yeah, I feel like that's still something that I'm actively working on. I think from a personal perspective, I'm getting better because again, I am doing those check-ins where I'm saying, okay, let's just stop and let me see how my body feels about that, and then I'll get back to you. So that's been a world of help, honestly, for that. And then, yeah, I think continuing to set boundaries and continuing to really do those check-ins periodically to see how I'm feeling, and then really assess your relationships, right? Are there certain people that, there was a show out there that was talking about an energy vampire, and I can't remember the name of it, but yes, energy vampires, right? Are you surrounded by certain people that just suck the life out of you and always want you to do things for them, but when you need something, they're never around? Like, I think assessing your relationships and saying, like, does this relationship serve me, or do I feel like I'm always giving 100% and they're giving me like 10, right? Because that might be something that maybe that's one that we can walk away from, and that's a boundary that we can set to say, hey, you know what, relationships in my life, I really want to prioritize them as long as I'm being prioritized with them as well. So that's another thing that will help also. Okay, so I think we'll wrap it up there. I hope you have a fantastic week. The holidays are coming up, right? So I'm sure you're really busy with all the stuff that comes with that. I want to make some cookies. We did finish decorating, so really excited about that. But lots to do around this house. We have kids here, so getting excited for the holidays and getting Christmas presents and all that good stuff. So yes, I hope you have a fantastic week, and we'll meet again next Wednesday. I see you, and you deserve all the good things.